the task of reading has been increasingly eclipsed by the easy fix of downloading information. But reading is not the same as downloading. And so the problem with downloading information is you often can't discern what's the difference between good, useful information and what is absolute balderdash. Reading forces you to slow down. It forces you to enter into the shoes of another. It forces you to think about, how do things look like from a perspective different from mine? How has the world been created in a way radically different from what I assume to be the case? Now, that is not just a cognitive challenge, it's also an ethical one. And I fear that our universities, to the extent that they still abide by the model of teach for the test and rote learning, are producing highly unethical students. Because the incentive is to simply, as they say, crack the exam. Not to get out of yourself, not to think, what's it like to be another person? If you're trained as an engineer, you can build a bridge, but you don't think, what will it mean for a bridge to be built here, to affect this community, that they may be displaced or that they may be helped by the bridge? These are the types of questions that I think a philanthropically minded mass stakeholder group of funders can help us take cognizance of.
Sure. Sudheesh, I want to sort of focus not so much on the experience of the foundation and the university, but on an aspect of institutional life that Gil referred to, which I think is technology. And we've seen some dramatic changes just in the last 3-4 years with AI tools becoming so easily available to our students. Gil spoke about reading. I mean, I think AI tools disincentivize reading even more because it gives you some ready-made kind of ways of getting around difficult texts and so on. I'm just wondering, what do you think is the sort of potential role of AI in a liberal education? Is it going to be the undoing of this ideal, or do you think it can further it in other ways?
On how is technology revolutionizing things on the ground with students? Well, I think we are also discovering the path. I don't think we have any pat solutions as yet. In the initial first 1 or 2 years, it was all about how do you control for plagiarism and stuff like that, and that phase is now over. But now the questions are, look, with everything that can be now created through whatever, ChatGPT and stuff like that, the challenge for the teacher in the classroom has become immense. How do you set a test? How do you assess a student? How do you develop these fundamental abilities that we are talking of when there are such easy paths outside? This is not a solution that we have discovered as yet, Srinath. So I'm sorry, I may have to disappoint you.
No, that's perfectly fine. And, we have governance structures, we have technology, but Bhavani, a very important part of any educational institution are the students themselves. And I just want to end this conversation by just asking you your thoughts. You refer to a very important facet of their lives and experience, which is anxiety. It is almost existential in a Heideggerian sense. It's there, it is continuously part of it. Anxiety can be an asset, but it can also be problematic. I think it's fair to say that we see it manifesting itself in terms of mental health challenges across the spectrum. I mean, we are all learning it literally day by day about what are the kinds of things. So what do you think universities like ours need to do in order to become spaces where freedom and growth, the true things that we identified as core to this enterprise, can flourish in this age of existential anxiety?
I'll loop this with the AI component because that's what is shaping the generation today. Easy access to information, as well as when we say reading has come down to a great extent. It is not just reading, but it is also processing of that information and reproducing that information in different forms, right? That has come down too. Because when we read something, we have our own ways of representing that information, putting down that information or expressing that to other people, or navigating with that information and creating new knowledge. That's going to be the lack of the future because AI does all of it. AI does the reading for you, puts it in various formats for you, and you just have to see the summaries coming out in different formats, and does not allow one to think. And, like Darwin's theory, I think there's going to be that, backward evolution where we lose some skill or some cognitive capabilities in the process of dependency on AI or technology for that matter. That is where the existential angst comes, because man, or humans in general, are driven to think, right? We exist because we think. And if we don't think, then we cease to exist, because others are doing the thinking for us. Others have given us the thought framework, and we live by that format or that label that is created by the world around us. And when we fail to think or to produce new knowledge or to create something original, then we lack. And that is why the entire existential angst comes. Today, anxiety, largely student anxiety, is because there is this inability or lack or gap in that thinking that one needs to do.